Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, and welcome to another scintillating chocolate review episode. You're here with the Chocolate Bros. I am Adam.
I am Brian.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And he is too.
Correct. We're the owners of Fortunato Chocolate. If you want to check out our website, it's www.fortunatochocolate.com. We've been in the chocolate business for 16 years. Brian lived for 10 years in the jungle of northern Peru with cacao farmers.
Correct.
Running our buying and fermenting and drying operation.
Also correct.
Also a professionally trained chocolate competition judge.
Also correct.
I'm a 16-year aficionado without professional training.
That's also correct.
You know, I've gone back and watched some of our previous episodes. I don't.
Have you?
Yeah.
I never do that.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
You don't even have.
That's why I don't improve.
I have to
it's
send,
quite obvious that I haven't because my improvement is non-existent.
I have to send you the link. You don't even have the link.
No, I don't know where to
Anyways,
find it.
it's all on YouTube.
If someone came up to me and said, I saw your episode, I'd be like, really? How'd you do that? How is that even possible?
They didn't send me the link.
Are we even recording these?
Yeah. What if it was all just a ruse?
I want to hang with Brian for 15 minutes. I should just pretend to do a show.
Yeah, get him to buy all this chocolate because he's buying all of it. And I do the accounting, so I'm not. He thinks I'm reimbursing him, but I'm not.
Plot twist: I used your credit card, Adam.
Dang it!
Stick it to the man.
You're wily. All right, so going back to the original point that I was trying to make.
Yeah, let's get on track.
I've owned the chocolate business along with Brian for 16 years.
That's
I
correct.
know a thing or two about chocolate, even though he rubs it in my face that I'm not a professionally trained competition level judge. So,
but you are what I would call a chocolate expert because you've done it for so long. You are a citizen scientist.
Highly enthusiastic.
You know,
about it as well.
Benjamin Franklin didn't have a master's degree in electric theory. He just figured it out by doing it.
Yeah, just went out there with the kite and the key.
That's right.
Got the bejesus electrocuted out of him, and next thing you know, he made a discovery.
And I mean, that worked very well.
Lightning rods, man.
Yeah,
lightning rods. So yeah, when you think of me, Adam Pearson, and you think of Benjamin Franklin, you think of us along the same level of achievement. Me and old Ben Franklin.
That's right.
So we are reviewing here today to get into it. We are going to review today this Ghirardelli 72% cacao intense dark chocolate bar. Our goal is to review bars that you, in general, might be able to find in your daily meanderings instead of stuff that's specialty.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to buy online and have it shipped to you during the summer.
Sort of mass market stuff that you can find in a store, a Target or a place like that, a grocery store, a gas station, even when we've done chocolate. Stuff that's easy to get and not exclusive or anything like that. We have spent so long tasting our own chocolate or chocolate that is given to us by sort of high-end, very exclusive chocolate makers, and we sort of, and it could be very precious, tasting for very subtle notes and things like that. We want to take a broader view of what's out there that's accessible, that's affordable to the consumer. In some ways, this is our competition because we strive to make our product accessible and price competitive with more of a mass market offering and less of just a very fine, very expensive, very exclusive, and hard to justify. We're not trying to make people justify a decision to buy our chocolate. So a lot of people might be choosing between a Ghirardelli bar and a Fortunato.
And I will say, I have to say this. The specialty bars that we have received from people we know in the industry, I believe on average, those have been better so far than the supermarket bars that
that's fair to say.
But there's always a value proposition, which is roughly, the price divided by your enjoyment. And I'm not sure if the price that those specialty bars charge necessarily justify the experience. That's one thing that I'm interested in exploring. So I don't know, what would you pay for this?
I believe I got this on sale at Safeway for $3.50, down from maybe $4.50.
So the question is, this is a 3.5 ounce bar. You usually get
very inexpensive.
You get a 2 ounce bar from some of these specialty guys, from some of these specialty companies, and it might cost you $12 or $13 bucks. So you're talking about something that's like 5 times more expensive. So a fair question to ask is it worth 5 times the price?
Right.
And that's something that we're going to be considering as we go along.
So
Ghirardelli, everybody knows Ghirardelli. They're all over the place. Right off the top, I'm just noticing, for my taste, a 72% is not necessarily an intense dark chocolate.
I think for the consumer that they're looking for, 72% is an intense dark. Up until when I was a kid, this would have been called semi-sweet or baking chocolate. I mean, this just wasn't really
That's a fair point.
And we can see, by the way, On yesterday's show, we talked about Lindt and about the scorching quality of their marketing text.
Oh man,
I mean,
they were
today,
really selling that bar.
I want to
man.
say Ghirardelli has not quite matched the intensity.
Well, that's that old world
and
marketing copy.
that's right.
You know, that old world European style marketing copy, man.
This says experience rich, bold, and intensely delicious dark chocolate with hints of mocha, blackberry, and dark cherry. Now, they did something interesting. They didn't come quite as scorching talking about their chocolate making skills, but they did call out the flavor notes.
They gave some flavor notes,
mocha,
which is nice.
blackberry, and dark
Now,
cherry.
they're going to have to, but the only thing is we're going to take them to task on that.
Yeah, exactly, because there is a theory that people will taste whatever you tell them they should taste, and then maybe that they're trying to play on the suggestibility of the consumer, or it may be that their tasting panel really believes that that's what they've brought out in these beans.
Well, and for there to be mocha, blackberry, and dark cherry, that would have to be inherent in the genetics and the terroir of the cacao itself.
Right. And at the price they're paying, it's highly unlikely that this is an heirloom, high-flavor genetic variety.
And we know that in general, the cacao that is used in mass-produced chocolate tends to be sort of a single generic genetic variety, and it all more or less tastes the same.
And if anyone out there is wondering what we're talking about, think about a grocery store tomato that is essentially a beefsteak tomato that is essentially for bulk and transportability without bruising the skin, rather than an heirloom tomato that is harder to transport and more expensive, but is bursting with flavor.
Yep. So most chocolate is made with your beefsteak style tomato.
That's right.
And sometimes if you go to a really nice Italian restaurant and the people care about the ingredients, they're only going to make their sauce with an heirloom variety of tomato.
That's
and
right.
the flavors are going to pop.
Yep.
And there's a similar phenomenon in chocolate. So the fact that they are saying that this ought to have flavor notes of mocha, blackberry, and dark cherry, it's sort of, it's a bold, it's a bold and somewhat incongruent claim.
We'll find out.
We're going to find out.
We'll find out if they're playing on their perception that their customer can't really discern the notes or the suggestibility, or if they've nailed it. And I got to say, they haven't hidden anything here. Unsweetened chocolate, cane sugar, cocoa butter, vanilla extract, and soy lecithin, which will be 0.1%. There are no ingredients to hide.
Except for vanilla. Vanilla can mask the flavor of poorly processed cacao.
So we've got a flip top box here, which
I
is,
like these.
which is
I like
good,
this
but
kind of box.
I had a really hard time getting it open, and then we've got a simple fold over foil wrapped liner, which we've talked about before. I really don't care for these.
It makes it hard to
you can't reseal it
to store it for
That's right.
for
and
later.
It's just even hard. You have to tear it to get into it. So it is what it is. Ghirardelli. It's a nice thin. So already the inner lining is destroyed. There's just no option.
Right. So to wrap this thing back up and put it back in the box.
It's a thin bar. I like that. It's a very simple mold with just a Ghirardelli logo on it.
I gotta say, I like the thinner molds.
Yes, I do.
I like the thinner molds. For tasting, it makes it a much better experience.
Absolutely. And I'm just gonna break this into. Oi.
That's part of the international.
That's right.
Chocolate
Oi.
competition.
That's right. The intention is to say oi. Okay. So we're gonna start with the flavor as we do.
No, I'm saying the way that you broke it. They taught you that as an international competition judge.
Solid aroma. Nothing
I think it's got a good aroma.
Nothing off about that. No problem with that. Break a little piece, let it melt on the tongue. All right, another piece.
You want to sell off or you want me to sell off?
All right, so if there's anything wrong with the ferment on the beans, I can't detect it. The beans seem well fermented.
Vanilla can help with that, but there's nothing glaringly wrong. There's no terribly over acidic notes.
One thing that happens when you taste a lot of artisanal and craft chocolate, because it's so exposed to the quality of the beans, if there's anything wrong with the ferment, you can taste it immediately.
Although as this is running long, I am detecting a little bit of sourness as it runs long.
Well, so here's what I would say. The chocolatey note is intense, and there is some fruitiness. I got to say there is some dark fruitiness in here.
What I'm wondering though, because you mentioned the ferment, for me as the tail runs on, I'm questioning whether that fruitiness that you detect in this, for specifically the dark cherry, but blackberry too. These are both sort of acidic berry notes.
Right. Is it from the fruit acids that are
I'm wondering if it's
yeah.
from the fruit acid or is it from just the slightest bit of acidity from the fermentation.
There's an astringency that comes in late.
But it's not very unpleasant.
No. It's not, but it's the first bar that we've had that's an industrial level bar. Typically, conching, industrial conching will eliminate pretty much all astringency. This is the first one where I've really felt an astringency coming on. And for those who might be watching who don't know, astringency is when something kind of dries out your mouth. When you have a banana that's a little underripe, or sometimes grape peels, it's a chalky, kind of dry feeling in your mouth. I want to say, okay, so this has an intense chocolatey note.
It's dark chocolate.
It is actually a fairly...
The Lindt bar that we reviewed said dark chocolate, but it was sweet and it had milk fat in it.
That's right.
This is a straight up, real 72% dark chocolate.
Yeah. When they called it intense dark, I don't know how intense, but it's a legit dark chocolate. There's nothing in there. You're right. The Vanilla Baby masking. This has an intense cocoa quality, and I did pick up some fruitiness, some red fruitiness on the first one. There's a little bit of astringency, and you're right. I feel like it might be now that you say that, and I'm getting the tail. It might be a tad under fermented.
That's a little bit of the note.
And they may have over roasted just a bit to make up for the under ferment. But overall, for a mass market 72% without anything to hide, it's a solid chocolate.
To be honest with you, I like this better than the Tony Chocolonely bar that we tasted. I think this Ghirardelli 72% here is a good value. It's a real. So but let me go ahead and start. No, you go ahead and say your piece.
I was just saying there's a type of bitterness and astringency that can be pleasing, that are harmonious because it's inherent in the cacao bean. This isn't overwhelmingly. I'm not regretting that I had it. What stays is that deep cocoa flavor.
Yeah.
The beans that they're using have some character. There's a little bit of character in there. I think this is not.
Although all right, so I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was going to let you talk. So the front, the front of this to me, it is your standard. The up front is not noticeably a unique variety of cacao to me. It is to my mind, the flavor profile is that generic cacao that generic cacao dark chocolate flavor that we're all used to. But as it runs, you do start to get some complexity.
Yeah, I mean,
the upfront tastes similar, but as you let it run and as you enjoy it, to me it does pick up in complexity as the experience goes along.
I can pick up that vanilla. I can pick up that vanilla note, but there is a mocha and cherry note. To be honest with you, there really is. I don't blackberries. I can't get, but I get what they're going with.
I get what they're going with, and so, but the reason I mention that is the upfront seems similar. As it goes on, it seems more complex. So that to me would suggest that the folks over at Ghirardelli actually put some care into their chocolate making, because I think they might be using almost the exact same cacao that maybe Tony Chocolonely was using, or that we taste in other industrially made dark chocolates. But it seems to me that maybe a little more care and thoughtfulness in the roast and in the preparation of the chocolate might be present in what Ghirardelli is doing.
I'll tell you what I think. I think it's a blend of the kind of beans you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
with
right.
Some percentage of maybe Oco Caribe from the Dominican Republic or something from South America with a little bit more character.
Good call.
I think that's a blend. It's got some filler beans, but it's got enough of a different kind of bean that gives it a little bit of character.
That's a good piece of analysis. That's probably what's happening.
Yeah.
So you're probably picking up the cherry and the blackberry and the fruit notes from some sort of South American variety.
I'd like that better.
But the majority is our standard sort of industrial cacao.
I'd like that better if there was about 10 or 20% less astringency on the back end, but the bitterness that comes on the back end is a pleasing one. I mean, beer has a bitterness, but it's a pleasing. If it's harmonious, it's pleasing. Whiskey can have some sort of alcohol esters, some scotch, I should say. But it's pleasing if it's harmonious and balanced.
Well, and then that's where the vanilla comes in too. If it wasn't for the vanilla, that was masking some of that astringency, I think that it would be even more pronounced. But again, that goes back to me saying I think the people who make this bar actually put some care and thought into it. They've put together a thoughtful blend. They've got a decent roast. They've tempered the astringency with a little bit of vanilla.
It says vanilla extract, and I would have expected this to have vanillin, which is fake vanilla, but this doesn't have that chemically flavor. I can detect the vanilla, but I believe that it's extract of actual Mexican or Madagascan real vanilla.
Yeah. So Brian, I'm going to go ahead and say right here, for now, of the bars that we have reviewed, I think this Ghirardelli 72% dark chocolate is the best dark chocolate we've reviewed so far.
In terms of dark chocolate,
if you're going to go to the store and just get a straight up dark chocolate, at least for now, if you can come across this Ghirardelli 72%, I would go for it. Now, if you compare it to the cocoa beans we use, ours, when you taste them up front, they're automatically more complex, more full. But if you're getting a grocery store dark chocolate, I like this bar. I think you could buy this and eat this whole bar with your family and enjoy it quite a lot.
I agree. If I had to choose between our 68% dark, our flagship dark, and this, I would choose ours because there's a lot more going on flavor-wise with the beans. If I didn't have access to ours and I needed a dark, I wouldn't hesitate after having tested this to have this. Honestly, if you want a dark that isn't full of it isn't full of junk ingredients and is satisfying.
It's good.
That's not
bad.
bad.
Yeah, it's good. And I guess they've
been doing it for a long time
they
too.
have.
We commented about Lint yesterday and how experience pays. Ghirardelli's a famous brand. They've been doing it for 100 years. And it shows.
The only thing you want to last thing I'll point out here before we sign off though, they do have something here that says, for more information about our ingredients and sustainable sourcing, visit Ghirardelli.com. Sustainability. These guys are not fair trade certified. There's nothing about this being organic.
It's a point for a different show, but that is no detraction to me. Fair trade, I think, is wildly overrated.
I completely agree, but just to let you know that that's the case.
Yeah, it's not organic, it's not fair trade, but they are addressing sustainability, and you can find out more about
on their
it
website.
Their link.
But just talking flavor, I think this is a good value.
Yeah.
For the price you paid and the amount you get, this is a really good value.
Agreed.
So, anything you want to say before we sign off?
No,
All right, Ghirardelli.
I'll give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, y'all.